Alright, hello and welcome to another episode of I Can't Believe I Watched That. I'm Cody and my guest with me today is the virtual intelligence from the new hit video game Mass Effect Andromeda,
Sam.
Alright, so last week we watched Hercules in New York and that movie was terrible.
God awful. Oh,
just bad. So,
but we did get questions.
yes, I got a couple of questions. So last week I asked anybody to send us any questions to the email in the last video, which I'll put in this video and I'll link in the video. The question comes from Snapshot 1023. So they asked, will there be any comic book movies? If so, which ones do you think will be first? And then a second part to that question, they asked, I'm referring to older comic book movies. Okay, so I knew there were older comic book movies out there. I just had not seen them or bothered to look any of them up until about 35 seconds ago. So the answer to the first part of your question is yes,
Absolutely.
definitely. We would definitely be watching old, terrible comic book movies.
And they look god awful.
Before they knew what they were doing. So I looked up a few. This list is not limited to what we will watch, but these are a few that we will definitely watch.
And if you know of more, please feel free to email us the titles. We will look those up.
Yes, definitely. So first, we looked up the Fantastic Four. There's a 1994 version of that movie that came out before they got all the big A-list actors like Jessica Alba and Chris Evans, who
Before they basically ruined the whole damn thing.
Yeah, pretty much. So we'll watch the 1994 release of Fantastic Four. And then there's also a Captain America movie that came out in 1990, hashtag year I was born. And the costume, I looked at some pictures for that, and the costume just, it is spot on. I'll just leave it at that.
Ear holes.
Yeah,
hashtag.
ear holes.
Hashtag ear holes.
And then there's a Punisher movie that came out in 1989. Who was in that one again?
Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, Dolph Lundgren.
For those who don't know, he played the big Russian in Rocky IV.
Rocky IV.
He must
we should watch
break
those
people.
movies too.
Oh
Rocky.
God, yes. Fuck yeah, they're great movies.
And then I had remembered seeing a scene in a movie where Thor and it's either Hulk or Iron Man. It's probably Hulk, but where Thor and Hulk meet up. And Thor's costume just looked terrible. And so we looked that up, and I found out that it's The Incredible Hulk Returns in 1988. And that is when Lou Ferrigno played as the Hulk on the TV series. Hashtag best Hulk ever.
Hashtag my Hulk.
Yeah, right?
Fuck that, yeah.
Yeah.
Hashtag true Hulk.
And for those of you who don't know, a fun fact about Lou Ferrigno is he actually voices the Hulk in all the new Avengers movies and all that. So I just found that out too. So that's really cool that they use him.
They uncredit him. That's baloney.
But yeah, he is uncredited.
We do not approve.
Yeah.
We are frowny facing that very hard right now.
Frowny faces all around here. So without further ado, we are now going to commence the screening
of our first musical.
Of our first musical, 1776.
Which is a totally factual account of how the Declaration of Independence was created and signed. In song. Well, everyone knows you had to break out in song like that. You don't have to get wore the poofy wigs and the frilly shirts for nothing, do you?
Yeah, you just
come on.
I feel like you just felt musical when you were wearing that kind of stuff.
Plus, they don't have like things like TV or radio. They had to entertain themselves somehow, besides being drunk.
They all had to have a story to tell when they got back home to their wives and children about how they created America.
Tell us again, Papa, in song, please.
Sing us a bedtime story, Papa. All right, here we go. Let's start this movie. All right, so a little change in the plan on this week's podcast. So instead of watching the movie this time and wisecracking about it, what we're going to do is just kind of talk about the movie. We just finished watching it, so we'll just talk a little bit about it. We're not going to like kind of review the movie, but we're just going to talk and give our thoughts about it. So like I said earlier, 1776. It's a great movie. It's a little long, of course, but well, my version is longer than the normal version, I guess.
We got the extended version by mistake.
Yeah, so it's
a little shorter,
almost 3 hours with the extended version, so just under 3 hours. it's a great movie, and it tells a really good story, of course, about American history, which is awesome, and they do it in musical form, which is even better.
Well, so. I mean, come on, let's face it. If you're walking around with a white wig and a frilly shirt, you expect these guys to burst out into song.
Yeah, like how could you not? So it's a great movie. They really, I mean, and like we said earlier, if you like Boy Meets World, it's got Feeney in it, and he's just phenomenal, of course.
As John Adams.
Yeah, didn't know he could sing, so that's really cool.
Oh, that's the one thing about this I love is like everybody who sings can sing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's all these people can actually sing. So
so
it's really cool. It's definitely a good movie to sit down and watch if you have time to watch it. If you want to know a little bit more, I don't know exactly how historically accurate all the congressional meetings are, but it's still a good way to portray it.
Well, from what I understand, the slavery contention was big.
Right.
That was the main. That was basically the whole South's economic plan was slave labor,
right,
to help with their farms and so forth. So that was an actual big part in it, and which there is this whole big song and dance about the slavery clause that Jefferson put in. Well, it shows a little bit of the process that things really probably haven't changed and all that. They had to set the motion, like, hey, we'd like to discuss this, and.
Right.
Once that got voted on, they could then discuss it, and then after the discussion, they called the question, and they're like, well, we need to make sure everything is, like, in writing, and then they went through and edited it, small stuff, big stuff, and that's the thing I like. They take the big stuff, but they also take a lot of the piddly stuff, too.
Yeah.
Like, stuff that people would be complaining about.
Of course, yeah.
Makes it a bit more real, and that's one thing I feel like... It probably didn't happen exactly this way, but it kind of gives you a bit of an insight into a lot of what these people were doing at that time. And I've said this before, they didn't earn money being congressmen. They didn't earn nothing.
Yeah.
They gave up a lot. I mean, John Adams, his law practice was practically crapped on because he had no law practice anymore. He gave that up to be a congressman. Right. His farm was failing at home. His family was going through hard times, and the cause he was fighting for so long was about to be defeated, or at least he thought. And it takes a look that these men sacrificed so much to be there, to make this decision for others, and it wasn't very easy when you consider the fact that getting orders was like you either had to recall the person if you didn't like how they were voting, or you had to send them new orders, and that took time. It took a long time to go from one place to another.
So basically, now things are better. Well, okay, I won't say better, but quicker.
In some ways not.
Yeah, maybe not even quicker, but correspondence has gotten a lot better since 1776. So at least, they can bicker and argue in real time. But yeah, so I thought it was a good movie. It's a really good movie. It's a good musical. There's funny parts in it for sure. There's definitely some really good scenes that'll make you laugh.
But they never fail, which is a nice thing, is that, yes, there's levity in it, but they never fail to show that we were really close to, like, losing everything.
Oh, yeah.
We were, like, on the edge there for a long time.
Yeah.
And even with the Declaration signed, spoiler alert, it gets signed. Spoiler alert for the movie.
Yeah, if you don't know your history, spoiler alert.
Right? But... it's like even that was just the beginning. That was just the beginning of an uphill battle.
Right.
Because Washington still had to beat the British in combat. And they had, like, as they said, the best army well-trained, well-equipped. They had a navy where America had a militia at best and a bunch of ships. Not really. And without France, we would have completely, lost the war.
Yeah, agreed.
Without the French's help in their navy.
Yep. And now we are one of the superpowers of the modern era. We're slowly losing that title, but...
Weird shit as that is. Why? We're the only superpower in the world right now.
Well, I wouldn't consider us the only one, but...
What, Russia? Really?
No. China's a superpower. Russia's a superpower.
It's getting there.
North Korea is considered a superpower since they have nuclear weapons, but...
Yeah, well, he likes to think he's a lot of things, but he's not.
Yeah, North Korea is just dumb. Anyway, moving on from 1776, we took a break about 45 minutes before the end of that movie to go watch another movie. And
because we're all about movieception.
Yeah, that's what it is. We're just watching movies inside of movies inside of movies. Just let that blow your mind real quick.
We need to spin the top, quick. Am I in this movie or am I in another? Spin the top.
And didn't they find out, like, in the end of that, like, that it didn't even matter if he spun the top? Or no, he spins the top.
It never gives you an answer. It starts to wobble, but never falls. It stops. You don't ever know.
God, that movie is so confusing. Anyway.
Which is the best part, because then you can make up your own ending. It's like, I think he was still in the dream. I don't think he was.
Yeah, I bet they did that on purpose. So just kind of leave it up to your interpretation.
That's a giant fuck you to the audience. Of course, I'd have done that shit. Are you kidding? That would have been great. Like, Joe was just a nice big old finger. Like, argue about that, assholes. See you on the internet.
They'll never stop talking about the ending of this movie.
I'm a genius. Let them argue.
So anyway, we went and saw the new Power Rangers movie. I'm not going to give any spoilers away if you haven't seen it, because that's not what I'm here to do. It's not what we're here to do.
We're not going to review it.
But I am going to say, if you're waiting, don't. Go see this movie. Like, this movie just, like, brought my childhood back to reality. Like, it was very
nostalgic.
It was very nostalgic in certain parts, but not too nostalgic. Like, we were talking about it earlier. Like, the nostalgia was just the right amount, where it wasn't like, oh, look at that, oh, they did that, oh, they brought... No, it was like a couple of things here and there, and it worked out really, really well. So I really liked, how they did that. Like I said, I'm not going to give anything away. I won't tell you what they did, but if you go and watch it...
I will.
No, you won't. He won't. If you grew up on Power Rangers, then you'll definitely catch the nostalgic moments, and it'll make you smile ear to ear, like it did for me. Yeah, what are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts... Well, I didn't grow up with Power Rangers. I was pretty old. I was a lot older.
Right, a little after your time.
A little after my time. I still watched some of it, but I didn't, really... It wasn't like... It's not like He-Man to me. I grew up on He-Man and a bit of the Transformers and G.I. Joe and all that shit.
Yeah.
And god-awful. Those were god-awful movies, too, by the way. We will get to the He-Man live-action movie, and there will be much wailing and gnashing of teeth.
Yeah.
But I still found it interesting. I still found it fun. That was the thing. I was like just hitting high school when I think Power Rangers came out. So, but still seeing that in live action, it got me pumped. It got me happy, and it was a fun ride, man.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it at least. I mean, if nothing else, it's a good popcorn flick.
Yeah, that was definitely a very entertaining movie. Like
don't go because it's not. Don't go to it if you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna get some deep revelation. But no, dude. No. This is just
Power Rangers. Like
this is just a bunch of people jumping around in costumes. Come on.
Yeah. So they did really, really well with the characters, with the actors, and the one actor we kept talking about throughout the entire movie, and it was just me and Sam in that theater, which was great because then we were able to talk shit. And
I was so hoping it would have been a shit movie, because then I would have been like, oh, I'm in a Mystery Science Theater 3000 this bitch. Nope.
But no, it was actually really good. And the one actor we kept talking about is the one they picked to play Kimberly. And man, I am telling you, she looks just like the TV series Kimberly. Like,
it's creepy!
Just like her. And I could have swore like she had to be related. I mean, they don't share the same last name, but necessarily in Hollywood, that doesn't mean you're not related. Because,
5 Degrees and all that.
Yeah, nobody changes their name in Hollywood. So, I mean, maybe to some degree she might be related to the original Kimberly, but I'm telling you, this girl looked just like her. And there was one part towards the end of the movie where it was just close up on her face of the girl playing Kimberly, and they just stayed there. And to me, it felt like, I mean, because of the scene that was going on, I won't explain what was happening, but it was just kind of a close-up on her face, and she was looking at herself in the mirror, and they sat there for like a good maybe 6 or 7 seconds, and I felt like they knew that she looked like her, and they wanted us to see it. And I was seeing it through the whole movie anyway, and I was like, I'm telling you, this is like her kid.
We both saw it. It was creepy.
Or they CGI'd the crap out of her face.
No, I don't think so. You could have told. You could have.
Yeah, no, they definitely
known.
But yeah, no, she looked just like her, and it was just really mind-boggling.
That tech ain't there yet.
No, it's not. We know that from General Tarkin in Rogue One. They over CGI'd him, and they showed him too much. Like,
that wasn't the problem. The problem was the lighting. Like, when he's in shadowy, it looked a lot better.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They showed his face too much. Like, when they did the CGI of Princess Leia, it was great because it was literally like maybe a second and a half, and that was all you saw of her, and that was all you needed. So, and yeah, you knew she was CGI, but with Tarkin, he had a lot more screen time. Yeah, anyway, I'm off the movie that we're talking about here. Yeah.
Back to, okay, what I like to say, who played Rita again? Fuck, I can't remember.
I don't remember her name, but...
Like Elizabeth something?
Elizabeth Banks or something like that. I'll look it up. But
she was campy as all get out. But you know what? She looked like she... That's the thing that saw, like, Rita was always a campy thing, because, like, the lips never matched the dubbing, and it was just camp, and I loved it, and she looked like she was having a blast playing Rita Repulsa. Oh, so good!
Yeah, Elizabeth Banks plays Rita, and she did a really good job. I thought everybody that played in this movie did a really good job. Okay, and I thought this was who it was, Zordon. Was Bryan Cranston. I thought that was him. Yeah, I couldn't tell, and I didn't want to say anything, but yeah, it was him.
Rangers, we got to cook meth.
Yeah.
Let's get cooking. God, but what the hell was that design for Alpha 5?
Yeah,
that was painful.
The design for Alpha 5 in the movie was definitely different, and, like, I don't want to give anything away. It was just
painful.
Not, like, it wasn't... I would say if there was anything wrong with that movie, that was the one thing that could have been better, but...
Like, who approved that design? They need to get their eyes checked.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully he didn't have too much screen time because it was weird, and he had like a weird little gut kind of thing.
Yeah,
what does he do? Anyway,
like it was like freaking like Lost in Space the movie. It was bad CGI there.
Anyway,
just
so
awful.
Yeah, if you're waiting to go see Power Rangers, or if you're not sure you wanted to see it, go see it. It's definitely worth it. Or wait for it to come out on Redbox, Netflix, whatever you have, Hulu, whatever, what have you. Definitely watch it.
Don't download it illegally.
Yeah, it's definitely worth the watch.
I'll come find you and then I'll smack you.
Yeah, we don't condone that.
I don't punch people. I slap them.
I mean, you can do what you want, but don't tell them we told you to do it because we're not going to tell you to do that. I will say that for both of these movies, 1776 and Power Rangers, in two different ways, I can't believe I watched that. Because 1776, I had never seen or heard of, and I wasn't too sure about it, but it was actually really good. And for Power Rangers, it's more of a I can't believe I got to watch that because I didn't think I would ever see a Power Rangers movie again in my lifetime because that last Power Rangers movie that we won't mention or speak of was
no, there is no mercy in this dojo.
Well, yeah, I never thought I would see another one, and they redid it, and it was really, 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 really good. Yeah.
I would definitely recommend it. I grew up watching 1776 with my parents and little sister, and we loved it. We'd watch it multiple times, and I didn't get a lot of the jokes at the time because I was younger, but I got them now.
Yeah.
Also, Power Rangers, I really can't believe I watched that for the one purpose of saying, like, I was hoping that would be just like this god-awful movie so I could just rip on it. It's like... it's like if I'm glad everybody got a good movie out of it. At least a good movie, a decent movie. But I really, really wanted it to be so bad. Yeah. I just wanted it to be garbage.
Yeah, part of me wanted it to be bad so that I could
just
have something
rip
to rip on
it.
But I'm really glad it was good. I'm glad they did it right. And go see this movie. Let me tell you. On just the very first joke in the movie alone.
I can't believe they did that. I really can't believe it. Like, really? This is a Power Rangers show. This is for little kids, and that's the joke you start on?
Go see it based on the first joke alone in this movie, and it is...
Like, really?
It'll just blow your mind, because how did they get that approved?
How?
There must have been something way worse that they submitted, and they were like, no, you can't do that, but you can do this.
Wait, was this PG-13 or PG?
It had to be 13.
It had to be with that joke. Like that, for a joke like that? That wasn't the only joke like that.
It wasn't, but it was great. So, yeah. I'll leave it at that. I can't believe I watched both of those. Oh, and before we go, I wanted to remind you guys to drop us an email at ican'tbelieveIwatchedthat@gmail.com. Ask us any questions, and we'll read them on next week's episode. Thanks for listening to I Can't Believe I Watched That.